My name is Amber and I want you to imagine this. Halloween night, the moon hanging high, jack-o'-lanterns glowing on every porch, and your older brother standing on your doorstep with 3 screaming kids dressed as superheroes. Only this time, when he rings the bell, a total stranger opens the door, and you can see panic flash across his face. Worth every stolen Halloween over the last 10 years. But let's rewind, because you need to know why that moment felt so incredibly satisfying. Halloween used to be mine. It was the one night a year that belonged to me, when I could turn into anything I wanted and taste that wild autumn freedom. Back in high school, I'd race through endless neighborhoods beneath cold skies, laughing with friends until our pillowcases split from too much candy. The scent of damp leaves and candle-warmed pumpkin tops, those were my first childhood perfumes. Then came adulthood, jobs, rent, responsibilities, and slowly Halloween lost its thrill. Not because I'd grown out of it, but because it stopped being mine. It turned into Kevin's yearly excuse for free babysitting. Kevin, my charming, self-absorbed older brother, had married his college sweetheart, Jennifer, right after graduation. By the time I turned 25, they had 3 kids, faster than most people pick an insurance plan. Emma, 8, Tyler, 6, and little Sophia, 4, adorable, messy, and endlessly curious. Don't get me wrong, I love those kids. Their goofy grins, their sticky fingers gripping candy corn like treasure. All of it. But every October 31st for nearly a decade, they were more my responsibility than Kevin's. It began as a one-time favor, their first Halloween as parents. They just wanted one night out, a costume party with friends. Jennifer's voice had trembled when she asked me, "Just this once, Amber, we haven't gone out in months. Please." How could I refuse? I was the fun aunt, single, supposedly free. So I said yes. But just this once quickly turned into, "Well, you're so good with them, and you don't have any plans anyway." Eventually, it wasn't even a favor anymore, it became routine. Every year, 3 days before Halloween, I'd get the same call. "Amber, will drop the kids around 6. Our party starts at 7. No question, no hesitation, just a royal decree, as predictable as the falling leaves. And if I dared to push back, Kevin's guilt tricks came rolling in smooth as ever. "Come on, Amber. You don't have kids. What could you possibly be doing? Watching movies alone? Or worse, the kids love being with you. Don't be that aunt." He always made me feel like wanting my own life was selfish. To everyone else, he spun it like I adored babysitting. At family get-togethers, Kevin would boast about how he and Jennifer balance family and fun so perfectly. He made himself sound like the most hands-on dad in the world, while I was just the conveniently available sister who doesn't mind helping. Our parents didn't help either. They'd retired to Florida 3 years back, chasing golf courses and early bird dinners, and only ever called to check in. "Honey," Mom would say in that breezy tone of hers, "you should feel lucky to have those kids close by. Kevin works so hard. And you love Halloween anyway. Lucky, right?" Every time I hung up, resentment burned hotter. Still, I kept showing up, helping with Emma's fairy wings, Tyler's pirate hats, Sophia's candy-fueled laughter. Because as much as I hated being their free babysitter, I loved the wonder in their eyes too much to spoil it. But resentment is like carbonation. Pressure keeps building until one day the cap blows off. This Halloween, the year it all snapped, I finally had plans of my own. For the first time in almost 10 years, I met someone who shared my love for Halloween. Steven. 8 months together, and already he matched my excitement costume for costume. He was going as a vampire count, with a tailored black cape and gleaming silver fangs. I'd spent 3 weeks sewing my costume, a deep emerald witch's gown covered in beads that sparkled like stars. We had tickets to the Harvest Moon Masquerade downtown, live jazz, crafted cocktails, glowing chandeliers. It was supposed to be our night. Steven had watched me work on the dress after long shifts, smiling each time I pricked my finger with a pin. "I've never seen anyone this excited for a holiday," he said. "Because no one ever let me be," I told him. Then 3 days before Halloween, my phone lit up with Kevin's name. My heart sank before I even picked up. "Hey, Amber," he said in that lazy, cheerful tone that always meant bad news. "You're good for Halloween night, right? Jennifer scored tickets to some masquerade downtown, supposed to be amazing. We'll drop the kids off around 6. I paused my spreadsheet and closed my eyes. "Kevin, I actually have plans this year. I'm really sorry, but he laughed. The sound wasn't friendly, it was sneering. Plans? You? Really, Amber? Don't be melodramatic. It's one night. It's not one night, I said. It's every Halloween for 8 years. We have tickets. We have costumes. Stephen and I are going to. He cut me off, voice dripping with exaggerated amusement. Oh, this new boyfriend of yours, right? Bring him along. Kids love meeting new people. Problem solved. My throat tightened. Kevin, it's not that simple. I'm not free. I already made plans. He snorted down the line. Amber, you think you're busy, but you don't have responsibilities. We already told people we're coming. Jennifer bought a dress. You can't bail now. I'm not bailing, I said, gripping the phone. There was an edge in his voice now, sharp and defensive. Because you always say yes. What difference does it make? It's not like you have kids of your own to worry about. And honestly, the kids prefer being with you. No offense, but you turn Halloween into a whole production. You like it more than we do. That slam hit like a punch to the gut. He'd turned my passion into a flaw to justify his entitlement. Kevin, I said slowly, could you please just find someone else? Maybe Linda from down the... He cut me off again. Are you seriously going to make this difficult? Mom and Dad always said you should step up more for the family. We can't take 3 kids to a masquerade ball. Come on. There it was, the trump card, the family guilt grenade. The one he lobbed whenever reason failed. But this time the explosion didn't land where he expected. Instead of guilt, clarity took its place. A cold, perfect calm. For the first time in nearly 10 years, something inside me clicked. He'd mistaken my silence for weakness, my dependability for consent. I was done being Kevin's default safety net. You're right, I said at last, my voice steady and clear as glass. I'll handle it. He exhaled, smug. Knew I could count on you. We'll drop them at 6. Perfect, I said and hung up. Except I wasn't agreeing. Not at all. I was plotting. The instant my phone hit the desk, my pulse surged. Not with anxiety, but with a sharp, energized focus. For once I wasn't reshuffling my life to accommodate Kevin's demands. I was scheming to dismantle them. By afternoon, my notepad was filled. Columns, arrows, potential allies, and one goal inked at the top in bold letters. Teach Kevin a lesson he'll never forget. The next morning I called in sick and rolled up my sleeves. I had one day to turn revenge into a plan. Step 1. Find a substitute he wouldn't dare complain about. I phoned Patricia in accounting, the woman who knew everyone and orchestrated every office potluck. Pat, I said, keeping my tone light. Your daughter's still doing that education practicum, right? Susan. Pat's voice brightened. Yes, she's doing her placement this semester. Why? I smiled so wide it almost hurt. Because I think I found the perfect side gig for her. Halloween night babysitting. Patricia lit up. Susan had been hunting babysitting work to make extra cash. When I laid out the situation, carefully omitting the revenge part, Patricia was delighted to help. Susan loved kids. She needed the money. She's been babysitting since she was 14 and she's CPR certified. Patricia assured me. Your brother's kids will be fine. I offered Susan $150 for the evening, generous pay for a few hours, but worth every cent for my peace of mind. We met at a cafe so I could hand over my spare key and go through everything. Where the PJs were, their snack preferences, bedtimes, emergency contacts. Susan was bright and thorough, asking sensible questions and jotting down notes. One thing, I told her. Kevin doesn't know you're coming. He thinks I'll be there. When he arrives, introduce yourself as the babysitter I hired. If he won't leave the kids with you, that's his call. He can take them along to his plans. But under no circumstances let him pressure you into anything. Susan nodded, serious. Got it. You'll be there while I'm at the masquerade? She asked. That's the plan, I said, a giddy thrill bubbling up. Next, I booked a hotel room downtown just a few blocks from the Whitmore where the masquerade was. Stephen and I would stay the night, order room service in the morning, and turn it into a little getaway. I spent Halloween day getting ready like it was my night, my Halloween, but it felt like something bigger. Like a wedding to the version of myself I'd almost forgotten. I took a long, slow bath scented with lavender oil, did my makeup with painstaking care, and arranged my hair into an elaborate updo that perfectly matched my witch's costume. When I slipped into the gothic gown I'd spent weeks perfecting, The reflection staring back at me felt almost unreal. I looked powerful. I looked free. Stephen picked me up at 7:30, his vampire attire making him look dangerously handsome. "You look incredible," he breathed when he saw me. "Are you ready for this?" "More ready than I've ever been for anything in my life," I said. We drove downtown, checked into our hotel, and had dinner at a quiet little bistro before heading to the masquerade. With every passing minute, my phone stayed gloriously silent. No desperate calls from Kevin, no guilt-laced texts from Jennifer, no urgent updates about tantrums or candy crashes. Just peace. At exactly 6 o'clock, while Stephen and I were sipping champagne in our hotel room and adding the final touches to our costumes, Kevin was knocking on my apartment door, 3 exhausted, sugar-hungry kids in tow. But instead of finding his dependable sister, ready to surrender yet another Halloween, he found Susan. I wish I could have seen his face when she opened the door. According to Susan, who sent me updates all night, the conversation went something like this. "Hi, you must be Kevin. I'm Susan, the babysitter Amber hired for tonight." Kevin apparently froze for a solid 10 seconds, his brain short-circuiting. Emma, Tyler, and Sophia were already tugging at his hands, eager to get their candy mission started, while he stared at the cheerful stranger in disbelief. "Where's Amber?" he finally managed. "She had plans tonight," Susan said kindly. "So she hired me to watch the kids. She left detailed instructions and my number. You can drop them off with me, or if you're not comfortable, you're welcome to take them with you to your event." "This is ridiculous," Kevin muttered, yanking out his phone to call me. Of course I didn't answer. Stephen and I were already at the masquerade, lost in the glow of chandeliers and the sound of a jazz quartet. My phone sat in my purse on silent, exactly where it belonged. Kevin called 4 more times. Then came the text. "Amber, pick up your phone. This isn't funny. Where the hell are you? The kids are scared and confused." That last message almost made me feel guilty. Almost. But then I remembered 8 years of being dismissed, used, and overlooked, and I slipped my phone right back into my purse. According to Susan's play-by-play texts, Kevin stood in my hallway for 15 full minutes, furiously calling Jennifer to figure out what to do. Their options were simple. Skip the party and stay home, trust the capable babysitter, or the worst possible choice, drag 3 small children to a black tie masquerade. Naturally, Kevin chose wrong. At 8 p.m., Susan texted me. He took them with him. "Can't believe it. Enjoy your party." And oh, did I ever. The Harvest Moon masquerade was pure magic, everything I'd imagined and more. The historic hotel ballroom had been transformed into a gothic dreamscape, all black and gold, dripping with candlelight. Costumed guests glided across the floor like characters from some dark fairy tale. Stephen and I danced until my feet ached, sampled rich desserts, and posed for photos in front of an antique mirror that made us look like creatures of another world. For the first time in years, I felt like myself again. Not Kevin's backup plan, not the convenient babysitter, but Amber. A woman who deserved beautiful nights, love, and holidays that belonged only to her. Meanwhile, across town, or rather, across the same hotel, Kevin's evening was unraveling spectacularly. I learned the details later through a mix of horrified texts from Jennifer and gleeful gossip from family friends who'd witnessed the chaos firsthand. Apparently, the kids arrived at the elegant masquerade in full Halloween glory. Emma as a fairy princess with glittering wings, Tyler as a superhero whose cape kept snagging on chairs, and Sophia as a tiny witch already sticky with half-eaten candy. First, the novelty thrilled them. But it faded fast. The music was too loud, there were no other children, and the cocktail party vibe clashed horribly with sugar-high kids who just wanted to go door to door. Within an hour, Tyler had knocked over a tray of champagne glasses while showing off his super moves. Sophia burst into tears, begging to go home and watch Halloween movies. Emma got into a heated debate with a guest who told her her costume was too childish for such a refined event. By 9 o'clock, all 3 were melting down in the hotel bathroom, Jennifer trying desperately to soothe them while Kevin paced the hallway, leaving me a series of furious voicemails I didn't bother to check. The grand finale came when Tyler threw up across the marble floor of the hotel lobby. A cocktail of too much excitement, rich hors d'oeuvres, and the stress of being dragged to a grown-up party when he should have been home in pajamas. Hotel security escorted them out. Kevin and Jennifer, all glossy masks and expensive costumes, had to shepherd 3 wailing kids through the lobby while guests stared and whispered. The romantic night was finished before 10, And they hadn't even reached the main ballroom where Steven and I were living our best lives. The next morning my phone erupted. Kevin called at 7 a.m., fury in his voice. "Amber, what the hell was that? You humiliated us. Jennifer's crying. The kids are traumatized and we look like fools in front of everyone." "Good morning to you too, Kevin," I said, calm as I sipped coffee in our hotel room while Steven slept beside me. "Don't you dare act casual about this. You knew we had plans. You knew how important this party was to us." "I know how important yours was," I corrected. "My plans mattered to me too. The difference is I hired a qualified babysitter and gave you choices. You chose to drag 3 kids to an adult party instead of accepting help or staying home. You left them with a stranger," Kevin shot back. "We couldn't leave our kids with some random girl." "Her name is Susan," I said. "She's studying education, she's CPR certified, and she has references. She's better qualified than I ever was. You were so furious about losing control you made a terrible decision." Jennifer grabbed the phone then. "Amber, how could you do this to family?" she wailed. "You trusted I'd always say yes," I replied. "You trusted my time wasn't valuable, my plans didn't matter, that I existed to fix your problems. That trust was misplaced." The call dissolved into shouting. Kevin calling me selfish, Jennifer sobbing about their ruined night. For the first time in 8 years, their guilt trip slid off me like rain. That afternoon Mom rang from Florida, her voice tight with disappointment. "Amber, Kevin told us what happened. I'm very disappointed in you." "Me too," I said. "I'm disappointed it took me 8 years to stand up for myself. Those kids." 2 parents who chose an inappropriate venue instead of staying home or accepting the childcare I arranged. Kevin's bad planning is not my emergency. For once Mom had no comeback. That was 6 months ago. Kevin hasn't asked me to babysit on Halloween or any holiday since. At first I worried I'd broken things beyond repair. But then something surprising happened. Without the default assumption that I would always be available, Kevin began asking instead of insisting. When he needed help, he offered money or a trade. Our exchanges slowly grew more respectful, more balanced. Jennifer later told me it was a wake-up call for them, that they'd been taking advantage of my kindness and their kids had suffered because of their choices that night. This Halloween, Steven and I are throwing our own party. Friends are invited, the apartment is decked out in elaborate Halloween displays, and we've planned costume contests and horror movie marathons. For the first time in nearly a decade, October 31st is mine again. Kevin and Jennifer are staying home with the kids, trick-or-treating in their neighborhood and settling in for a family movie night. Emma sent a photo of their carved pumpkins with a text. "We miss Halloween with Aunt Amber, but Mom and Dad are learning to make it fun too." That meant more to me than any apology Kevin could offer. Sometimes the most effective revenge isn't loud or dramatic. It's simply refusing to be taken for granted. It's valuing your time, protecting your happiness, and recognizing that saying no to one thing opens the door to something better. I learned the scariest monsters aren't always in costumes. Sometimes they're relatives who assume they own your life because you never taught them otherwise. And the sweetest treat is finally stopping handing pieces of yourself to people who never bothered to say thanks. If this resonates, you're not alone. So many of us have relatives who mistake kindness for weakness. Drop a comment about the time you stood up to someone taking advantage of you. I read every single one. And if you like this story about boundaries and Halloween justice, hit subscribe. We've got more revenge tales that'll make you want to stand up for yourself.